You were one of the newer mains. However, you had been dating Astro for several months. Since, well, you had been there for about 4 months. About 2 months prior, you and Astro had worked together to get everyone back to normal, since everyone had gone twisted. One day, Sprout had decided to ask you if you wanted to help him with baking. All you had asked was if Astro could join, and Sprout said that he could. So, that day, you're baking with Cosmo, Sprout, and the Astro. You notice that Astro is having a bit of trouble, so you show him exactly what to do. After a while, and since it had been a couple days since that, Dandy had decided to inject you with Iker. And since you were on your floor, well, you figured the only one who would come there was Astro. Sadly, you were correct. When he finds you, since you're a distractor main, but more humanoid instead of like Pebble, you're fast. Like, very fast. And to get you to attack people, it's more or less, you see them, you attack them. Kind of like every other distractor twisted. And then, well, you notice how scared he is when he sees you. But since you're twisted, you don't feel anything. You don't want to stop yourself. So you attack him, nearly killing him. But since, as a twisted, you cannot have trinkets equipped, he was using your Sprout trinket. And, well, you had already gotten rid of 2 of his hearts. And then he manages to hug you. That immediately sparks you remembering that it's Astro. It's your boyfriend. Then he hears you say in a muffled tone, Astro? Is it you? And then he says, yes, my darling star, it's me. And then you just sit down. You can tell that he's injured. And then you nervously say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. And then he nervously says, well, it's my fault. I was the one trying to go to you, even though I knew it could get me killed. After a while, and he was trying to get you to quit apologizing for injuring him, then he just kisses you, which gets you to be quiet. Then he says, love, I'm not mad, okay? I'm just happy that you're responding. Then he notices that you're crying. So he curiously asks, Love, are you in pain? And then you nervously say, I hurt you, but you're still forgiving me. You're still calling me love. It's not a good thing. But it is a good thing, but it's not. Then he chuckles and says, Darling, I'm not mad, I promise. And it is a good thing. Because if I were twisted, I know you'd do the same. After a while, and he was trying to get it so that you turned back to normal, like with what happened with the others. But he was having trouble. Because, well, you were the one who had gotten the others back to normal. He just stuck with you because he was the only other one who wasn't twisted. You can sense his frustration. So you just go up to him and pick him up. Which wasn't out of the ordinary, but now instead of 4 or 5 feet up, he was 8 or 9 feet up. You can tell he's a little scared by this. But then you say, I won't drop you. I promise. And then he gently nuzzles into you and says, I know, love. I know. I'm just not used to being up this high, that's all. It's not that I don't trust you, it's that I'm not used to this. That's all. Then you smile and say, Good. But, hun, you know you're doing it all right? Then he looks at you curiously, and then asks, What do you mean, hun? Then you say, That's not how you do it. If you're trying to get me to turn back to normal, then you show him how. After a while, and since you were back to normal, thanks to him actually following your instructions, you two were just cuddling in his room. Then you gently kiss him and say, Hey, hun, thanks. He looks at you curiously and asks, Thanks for what? I didn't do anything. And then you say, 1, for following my directions, and 2, for not abandoning me. And then he chuckles and says, I would never abandon you, darling. After a while, and you had kissed him, and you say, I love you. And then he happily says, I love you too, my darling. And you both fall asleep while cuddling.